This may seem like a trivial question, but I always like questioning small moments like this in the games and seeing if they made any sort of impact at certain points during the story. Could Tidus have saved Kilika from sin during the events of Final Fantasy X? Of course, one of the earliest demonstrations of the destruction Sin is capable of in Spira was shown in Kilika, where it attacked the port city shortly after its battle against the party on the ship. Most of the city was destroyed and its people were killed, with no one being spared, and the city spends most of its time rebuilding during the events of the game. It also showed that Sin's destructive capability spares no one, as it is in its own creation to destroy cities with gatherings of people around. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I suspect today's video will be short, but we're gonna go back to the world of Spira today and we'll be exploring this particular theory. If you have thoughts on this, let me know in the comment section below and like the video if you enjoyed. I have been playing through Final Fantasy 16 most recently, so expect more lore videos from the world of Valisthea in future videos. Also, I'm kind of thinking of starting a Final Fantasy 14 run. If anyone who watches my content plays Final Fantasy 14, let me know your thoughts of the game and what the lore is like since I'm not too familiar with it. Of course, as well as the MMORPG aspects of it, as someone like myself who has enjoyed MMORPG games in the past. I kind of want to get back into it because it's been quite a while. I may also stream it on the channel, so just let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. That would be appreciated. So without further ado, let's explore this topic on if Tidus would have been able to save Kilika. Now, in order to approach a question like this, we need to do a little bit of a pivot in the storyline. We are going to assume that the ship reaches the Kilika port before Sin does, meaning the battle between Sin's Fin and the party doesn't happen simply because there's no way a ship would be able to outrun or even outmaneuver a massive gargantuan creature like Sin. At least not in the open waters. Instead, the journey from Besaid to Kilika remains rather peaceful, with the conversations between Yuna and Tidus still occurring, along with some small talk about the Blitzball tournament coming up in Luca. In fact, the time spent during the battle could have been used as an opportunity for Kimahri and Tidus to be a bit more acquainted, meaning Kimahri doesn't have to wait until after Operation Mihen to fully warm up to the main character. This is already a big change in the storyline because Kimahri and Tidus will have slightly more friendly conversations during that time. Then they land in Kilika, and it would be a bigger port town than what we see in the events of the game, with more docks and buildings and people as well, but I doubt the scale would be by that much. It would be some time before they embark for the temple, so they spend the afternoon in the town. This is where Sin would begin its approach towards Kilika. As the sun begins to set, a rumbling could be felt accompanied by water being moved towards the sea as a giant beast emerges from the water close to the town, with the population fleeing in dread as Sin approaches. Upon feeling the rumblings, the party step outside to see what's going on, and Tidus takes a look at Sin. It suddenly stops in its tracks. Instead of seeing just a part of Sin, we actually see a near face-to-face confrontation between the two, and Sin does not move. However, because of the nature of Sin, Jet cannot fully resist the urge to not attack. So instead, Sin Spawn are unleashed and swim towards the shore, and a battle ensues, with Sin Spawn attacking the citizens of Kilika in a battle. While some people, as well as the party, are able to fight back, most of them are killed while others flee toward the forest and eventually to the temple where they seek the hospitality of the monks. Eventually, Sin would take one last look at Tidus before defeating the last of the Sin Spawn attacking them and swims away. Confused, the party looks on. How come Sin fell back and not attacked? I don't know, but it still did its damage. It's better not to question it. My Lady Summoner, please perform the sending for the dead. And after a few moments of collecting their dead, the sending is still performed by Yuna as the others look on. However, throughout the night and into the next day, Tidus cannot help but wonder why Sin did not attack Kilika. But even more mysterious, how come he felt a connection with Sin when he stared at him, almost trance-like? Now, around this time, Auron has yet to be introduced to the party, so Tidus is not aware that Sin is Jet. But I think having this as the seed planted that there is a connection between Tidus and Sin could begin the course of the party figuring out this connection and how it all ties together in the end. Of course, I'm not questioning the way Square Enix put together the storyline. I think it was still very well put together, and there's a reason it's still remembered over 20 years later for its captivating storyline. But as a lore enthusiast, I do like the idea of questioning things and breaking them down to see what other outcomes could have occurred even if one thing about the story was changed. That is something I find quite intriguing. Going into more of the smaller details, when the party goes through the forest, they would find more Sinspawn as enemies, as some of them would have fled, as well as the Sinspawn Geno battle that still happens at the steps. When they reached the temple, they would come across more survivors and wounded being treated by the temple monks, but would eventually be told that the city has been cleared of all Sinspawn, leading the more healthier ones to return. And of course, who can forget about the confrontation between the Besaid Aurochs and the Luca Goers? The Luca Goers are clearly not warriors. They have no idea that the party was involved in driving back the Sinspawn and driving Sin out of Kilika, which means that the Luca Goers are still taunting them by the events of this game in order to get in their heads for the Blitzball tournament. And that would be my little spiel on if Tidus would have been able to save Kilika. While he would have probably prevented most of the city by being destroyed, its citizens were still gonna be in trouble as Sin would have launched some form of attack, even if Jet was resisting the urge to do so. I think small little details like this are very interesting and are worth looking into just to see how storylines would change and how it would impact the overall development of the characters and the story itself. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel so I know you like ideas such as this one, and leave a comment on what other questions you might have about the game or just some general thoughts on Final Fantasy as a whole. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and that, as they say, is that.